Greetings, fellow test subjects. Test subject 1337 here for Aperture Gaming. They make it. We test it. You play it. On today's episode, a little bit of a forewarning. I've heard the term Metroidvania been thrown around a lot. I guess it's based on the old Metroid games and Castlevania games. Well, I think the closest I ever did, I did like a demo of a Metroid Prime game, but I've never played a Castlevania game. But anyway, I bring that up because today's game is very much in that realm. Today I'm reviewing The Prince of Persia, The Lost Crown. So let's get into the review, shall we?
Series.
As I said, this game that I'm reviewing, it is from the Prince of Persia franchise. It's amazing because it's not a sequel, prequel, or in-between-quel, but it seems to have, it has elements from the first Prince of Persia games from like the late 1980s. It has some of the magical stuff from the elements of Sands of Time. And I also think it might be taking place within the realms of supernatural and mysticism seen in one of the more recent Prince of Persia games, where it's the one where the prince had the red and blue outfit and was traveling to the 4 areas. But yeah, I digress. So it's just part of the series.
Team.
If you couldn't see from the box, this game was both published and developed by Ubisoft.
Plot.
The plot is you play the character of Sargon. You and your team of fellow elite warriors, after completing a great and epic quest, are deemed heroes all by the Queen of Persia. But then the Prince of Persia is kidnapped, lost crown, and is taken to Mount Quaff, QAF. And inside the mountain you have to try to navigate through the labyrinth of traps, puzzles, and enemies to try to save the Prince of Persia.
Gameplay controls.
Alright, so the controls, like I said, this has some elements from like a bunch of the previous games. So the game, and here's where the Metroidvania comes in. The game is 3D animated, both the characters and the environments, but you can only go 4 directions, up, down, left, and right. There's no depth of going forwards or backwards. You can only move the camera a little bit. The gameplay is like you have to go to a location and they're like, you can fight the enemies, you try to locate this treasure chest, or you try to use a superpower, but if you can't, you have to use a marker and put it on the map to come back to that marker later. As you go through the game, you get items where you can then visit shops to buy stuff like more health potions or special abilities or amulets, and when you go to a tree to save, you can then swap out what amulets you're using. Yeah, so the game is definitely puzzle solving, platforming, exploration, and combat.
Graphics.
As I previously mentioned, the graphics of this game are all CGI. The game looks really good. It's interesting seeing the skybox and stuff happening in the background. And as for the characters themselves, the heroes and the antagonists, everyone looks pretty good. They do this thing where like when the character's talking to you, they have like a semi-still image of the character. And I've noticed how they do a bit of a lazy thing where like a character has an eye patch on the left eye, but depending on which side of the screen they are, the still image will flip from left to right. So maybe cut a few corners here and there. But yeah, overall everything looks pretty good. So they'll have like the visual cues in combat for like between a regular attack, an unblockable attack, and a special attack where if you counter it just right, you then trigger a pre-rendered, pre-animated cutscene takedown.
Audio.
The audio is pretty good for this game also. I like the voice work, but also the thing that gets me is like when I'm in some areas, like you have the background music, but you can also hear like the wind and like you can hear things crawling around in the dark. So yeah, so the environment of the landscape, it changes on where you are. Like if you're in combat, there's one kind of music, and if you're not, then there's a different kind. So really good work on the audio.
Multiplayer.
No, there is no multiplayer.
DLC.
Yes, there is some DLC. So when I got this game, one of the DLCs I got, there was a skin for you could wear the armor from Warrior with it, and based on the Ubisoft Awards, then you could get a young Sargon skin, And there's also a special DLC pack I've seen where you can get another skin, and you also get a special amulet and power or boost ability. So yeah, the game does have DLC, and I could definitely see more DLC coming from this game.
Issues.
Technically, there are no issues in the game. You start off, and it plays really well. You have easy, medium, hard, expert, so you have your difficulty choice, and everything's been playing through pretty fun, without any problems. I think for me, the gripe I have is how it's 3D, but we only have 4 directions. We don't have like open space. We can't alter the camera greatly. We can't go depth perception, but forward and backwards. And it's weird, because I guess with Warrior Within, since with that game, we had the ability to we can't go past this area in this place, so we have to go back in time to go through it when it was still intact. So it'll be interesting to see, but yeah, no technical issues, but I do have that gripe right there.
Buy, rent, or pass.
I've been a fan of the Prince of Persia franchise since the Sands of Time first came out. It's been a great series, I've enjoyed it, and if you've been a fan of it for that long, or even longer back when it originally came out, then I would say this game is a definitive buy.
Overall score.
Like I said, I'm a huge fan of the franchise. I've played all of Sands of Time, The Warrior Within. There was that one game that they made that was supposed to be like an in-between between like the 3 or 4 Sands of Time games. There was the one that took place in the more fantasy realm with the four different spirits. But yeah, so I like this. Like I said, the only gripe I have is how we only have 4 directions to choose from and how to navigate. But I think it's like I said, it's trying to pay homage to the original that came out like in the late 1980s. Yeah, aside from that, I have really no real gripes. So I'm gonna give. It plays well. It's fun. It's a good story. I look forward to seeing how it ends. I give Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown a 9.5 out of 10. Oh, and I also forgot to mention how, along with regular minions, like every once in a while, there's the boss battles or mini boss battles that you have to encounter. Yeah, so it's a fun game. If you're a fan of the franchise, then I hope you like this. So, new take on the series. So, that's all the time we have for this episode. Thank you for watching. Until next time, this has been Test Subject 1337 for Aperture Gaming. Thank you for watching. As always, game on, and have a nice day.